Hello, welcome to episode 38 of the Epic Film Challenge 2, 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. It is the classic at this point, or at least the iconic Blair Witch Project.
Of its kind, maybe a classic, but...
Yeah, no, I don't think it is a classic.
Like
I'm just...
general movie? No.
Like I said, an iconic film, like one that really seemed to be a thing when it came out. I'm just saying, like, is it a classic now? Because it's been so long since it came out, but if, you know... Again, I was a teenager when it came out, and so it just... it's weird when you start getting to that point where so many years have passed, and a film that came out when you were around is kind of, you know, because when I was a kid, films from the 70s were classics, 80s were classics, so, I don't know. Classic is a very broad term, but yeah.
It was the first of its kind, right?
No, there's been other kind of found footage films, but I think that it popularized the found footage style. I mean,
especially when it comes to horror genre.
Yeah, exactly. So like the Blair Witch just launched a whole slew of this tape was found.
For years, I thought it was true because everyone said it was. So
yeah.
It was terrifying for me. I couldn't go out camping for ages.
They were incredibly smart with the marketing of the film. It's like
so cheap, must have been.
One of the early instances of online viral marketing. You know, I think they made websites and stuff to sell the whole idea that it was real, and I think that the actors who were in the film on their IMDb page at the time of the film's release, it said that they were currently missing. So they went all out with it, and I think that it wasn't as like it was cheap to make, I think, but they spent like millions like with the promotion or something. Like, because when the studio came into, I don't know, I'm not sure about all the details, but I thought it was like made for nothing, but there was a bit of money that went behind it. But what's really interesting to me, and we're not even getting into the story of it, but they got the actors for it, and that they literally kind of did the film. They just kind of had them out there, and then the directors were away, and they kind of would talk to them through walkie-talkies, but they would get into the actors' heads and stuff. Like, they would start poking the tents to scare them and stuff, and yeah, and at one point there's three characters that go out camping to make this documentary film about this so-called Blair Witch legend, and you know they've got the cameras with them, so you go between.
Are the actors actually doing the filming?
Yeah. Huh. And apparently, like one of them wasn't very good at filming, so they had to scrap some of the footage and stuff, and it must have been difficult to kind of get it the way they wanted it, but. Yeah, they go out to, and we switch between like a normal kind of digital tape camera and also an 8mm or a 16mm camera, which is more of a filmic black and white look. I liked how we switched between those two. It gave it a bit of variety and stuff. And the black and white like film footage looked really nice in comparison to the tape stuff. But there's three of them, and at one point one of them disappears for at least one point. And what actually happened was the directors or the filmmakers, they said to that actor, right, in the morning you leave before they get up, you're done, you know, and they didn't know. I think they thought that it was going to be someone else, like it was, you know, so they really were just trying to get those, like that raw, angry performance out of them and stuff, and I think some of the arguments were real, or like they were building upon real life tension between the actors, and anyway, the film itself, I didn't really enjoy it that much. I remember at the time...
What did you enjoy?
I didn't really enjoy
No, what didn't you enjoy?
Just the film.
Oh.
Overall, I mean,
I thought you did.
The main thing I take away from Blair Witch Project is, I want to make a film. Like, you know, you kind of think, oh, this is kind of, you know, I could do something like this, but then...
It's so simple.
Yeah, because it's so simple, and it gives you ideas of how could I do something that's kind of simple and easy to do. Yeah. And I thought the actors were pretty good and convincing. And felt like teenagers, you know, or you know, young adults, and that made it all a bit more believable. I liked how, not to give too much away, but I liked how the horror part of the film isn't really like shown too much. It isn't really like a big reveal, like this is what it is. It's more implied, and I'm sure that's probably down to the budget, but the tension and the scares from the film come from, you know, more of your imagination than what you see on the screen, which is a great thing.
And it's very simply made, and there's obviously, because it's a found footage kind of movie, it doesn't have any music in it.
Yeah, that was another thing I noticed there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when something scary happens or something tense happens, the fact that there is no music there makes it more tense, because you get the feeling that you're there more, and you hear the breathing of the actors, and and then you hear all of the stuff going on though. Because
Yeah.
what in the night they keep hearing sounds around their tents.
I heard a disturbing sound.
And it seriously freaks me out so much. And when they're filming out there, it's like Paranormal Activity when the camera's just like, you know, in the room and you're just expecting something to pop right in front of the camera, and so you get so tense because you're waiting for it to show up, you know, and just scare you, and just that suspense is really great, I think.
Yeah.
How the noises kind of build up as well, and how they get more and more scared, and if they were really bad actors, it wouldn't be that great.
Yeah, you see the characters slowly unraveling, in some cases rapidly unraveling, but I just liked the way it played out. But the thing I think I didn't like was just that it dragged, and it's not a long film either. But there's just a lot of them in the woods, like we're lost, and I guess that sells the kind of repetitive nature they're in, where they're going in circles and they get more frustrated. But there's just,
also that is supposed to be found footage.
yeah, I was just zoning out a bit towards the middle, I suppose. But by the end, you know, I mean, it kind of came back round again in a dramatic way. And one bit of trivia to throw in as well is the famous shot of the film. I think everyone knows if you've been around, you know.
Scary movie times.
Yeah, if you're around our age, you'll know, you know, just from when the film came out and the amount of times it's been parodied and taken the piss out of. The shot where she's got the camera right in her face and the snot's coming out of her nose and stuff, and she's crying her eyes out. When the actress shot that, it was supposed to be of her whole face, but she forgot the camera was zoomed in, so it was a mistake. But the directors thought, well, actually, no, that's kind of cool because you could just get all that warts and all, you know, everything, you know, and it's all hanging out there, and it's just, and so I guess they liked the let's just use that.
You almost feel like closing your mouth because it's kind of gross, actually.
Yeah.
I had to force myself to look at her eyes because I got kind of like grossed out, like I felt it in my throat, like. No.
Yeah.
Don't look at that. Oh, don't look at it.
Didn't bother me that much. I liked how real it felt.
Just stay in your nose.
It should. But a story that I always tell, and I'll just put it on video, just, you know, was when it came out. I was on a bus home one night as a kid. I guess I was 11 actually. I was just started high school, I think, and I was on a bus back home. It was dark, and there was two teenagers at the back of the bus talking about it. And one of them was trying to convince the other one that it was all real. And I think that just kind of encapsulates what probably made it such a huge success, was the fact that teenage audience probably was unsure whether it was real or not.
No, yeah, I was sure it was real.
And the thrill of that must have been something else in the cinema. Can you imagine if you believe that and you're in a cinema in a dark room watching it? Holy shit! It would take on a whole other life for me then, because I didn't see it at the time. Really, I've seen bits and pieces of it over the years. I think I saw some of it on TV, but I've never watched it from start to finish. And now I just look at it as almost like technically, you know, I look at the way that it's filmed and how they put it together. I don't really buy into it as the way that they kind of intended it, but.
Well, that's because you know it's not real.
Yeah, and in this day and age, you wouldn't be able to get away with this as well, I think, because I don't know. I just get
nobody would publish anything like that.
Yeah, because they did it first. There's been found footage films before, but in a way where it's like, you know, this tape was found, and you know they did it right, and it's something that I mean, they've done it with Paranormal Activity, which, you know, no one buys it, but you can still get scared by it because it's a film, but there's not that extra added element of you actually believing it, you know. Anyway, is it a film you must see before you die?
In general movie department, I don't think so. When it comes to found footage films,
yeah.
If you're interested in seeing, like, you know, the founding father almost of that.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, that's what I feel like, because I'd never heard about it before. I've never heard of one that's older than this one, and it's not even that old. Then yes, I guess, because if you like horror movies, of course you should watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it deserves credit for how simple it is. Like, this is the kind of thing you could make yourself. Yeah. Just go into the woods, bring a camera, clack some rocks on each other, make some rattling noises on the tent and have someone scream their eyes out. What? Scream their snot out of their nose, you know? It's just, that's how simple it is, and it works. So that's why I think it deserves credit.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes. I don't think it's a great film, but I admire what went into it, the idea of it, and also I just think it's a one-of-a-kind film where, just all the reasons I was saying then about the fact that the people believing it at the time, and I'm sure there were adults who didn't believe it, but I mean, just that, it just seemed to be a lightning in a bottle kind of film for its time, and, you know, yeah, it's worth a look.
And then you could build your own theories about what really was going on in the movie. Was there really a Blair Witch? Or were those guys psycho guys? Or did all the kids just go crazy?
Yeah. But,
yeah, but if you think about it, they could have been messing with her head.
True.
They took the map, lured her into the thing, did all the things that, you know, were rumoured about the witch.
Yeah, no, that's, I never thought about that.
You never saw the guy's dead.
Yeah.
You heard her stop screaming.
Yeah, I mean...
that gave me chills. That just came up with my feet.
I'd never had in my mind that it's not really like cut and dry, like this is what happened. I guess that's...
They were psyching her out a lot.
Yeah.
She was the one who was in the control in the beginning, and she was the one screaming
Oh my
the
god,
most
that's
in the
such a
end.
great point. And it's so dark as well because... Oh, spoilers, fuck it.
Oh, come on, everybody knows the Blair Witch
No, but
Project.
the one guy, like... She finds a package with his hair and a tooth in it and blood and shit.
Was it the tooth though? It looks like a mouse heart.
Or whatever, but they literally, if your theory was correct, then he would have to like cut his hair off and like pull the tooth out to sell the idea. That's really interesting. That flips the whole thing.
Yeah, and then the thing you heard about the myth was that they made like the one kid stand in a corner with his back to when the other kid was killed, and then he would be killed. When she comes down to the basement, her friend is standing with his back to her.
Yeah.
And they never find the other guy, and he could have just been there ready, and then they could have killed her. And it's just a psyching out kind of thing. Like, they start arguing with each other. He throws away the map. They say that she's being this and that, and she was so confident in the beginning, and she starts psyching out in the end.
Huh.
So, maybe there was no Blair Witch. They just wanted to kill a girl and get away with it. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, we'll just we'll leave you with the ending music.
You like this ending though, don't you?
We'll leave you with the ending music to every Saw film. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun, da-da-da-da-dun, dun. That's it. Thanks for watching. That's a very interesting point. Blair Witch Project. Yeah.
Psycho Project.
Psycho Project.